Hi, I'm Pat,
I'm JJ.
and we're here to discuss ocean safety skills when collecting sea glass and empty seashells in the ocean,
Underwater.
underwater.
Different type of beachcombing.
Right. And I've got about 50 years of ocean experience and 20 years of lifeguard experience.
I've been living near the ocean since I was 2 years old, growing up in Micronesia and then the Hawaiian Islands. We've both been on competitive swim teams, surfers. Just basically, we are water people, true and true.
You know, we moved back to Hawaii in 2012, and we started to get really involved with beachcombing and collecting sea glass by some of the beaches that we went to. And it turned from being a hobby to something that we just enjoy.
So the ocean is a huge part of our life, and we've been started off as a couple surfing together in the 1980s. And then about, I think it's been about 7 years how we got into beachcombing underwater for sea glass and empty seashells, because I had a bike injury that hurt my neck, and so I have a spinal cord issues, and I'm not allowed to surf anymore. And I needed something still to do in the water, and slowly but surely I started to notice glass. We always knew there were shells and we collected, but we started to notice beach glass. He was nice enough, because he still surfs, to do it with me, and next thing we knew, we were really into it. We got competitive with each other, and then made a whole slew of friends here that are also really into it, diving underwater. And it's just been a huge addition and a lifesaver for me, of another way to enjoy the ocean. Definitely free diving for empty seashells and sea glass is our preferred method for finding these kinds of things versus walking the beach.
We found from our experience that hunting for sea glass and empty seashells is better done after a big surf, when the ocean becomes calm. The heavier debris comes up, like the sea glass and empty seashells.
And old bottles.
Yes, so you definitely don't want to dive for that stuff when there's surf going on.
Huge surf, yeah.
So that makes it a little easier when speaking about ocean safety for any novice that wants to get into diving for seashells.
And when we say diving, we don't mean like the tank and all that. We're just free diving with fins, mask, snorkel, sometimes clothing to protect us if we're going to be in rough, rocky areas where we know we're going to get washed up and down and scraped up.
Well, you definitely want to have sun protection. That's your first thing. And for us, it's easier for us to use surfing fins, ones that you use for body surfing and for boogie boarding, than it is to use the longer dive fins that are very cumbersome, hard to put on, hard to stay on your feet when there's surf.
And a lot of times you have to stand up, and a surf fin is only about this wide, and you can get up easier.
Yeah, not get knocked down.
Yeah, and the fins help so you can propel yourself quickly underwater if you see something, because more often than not, you're going to be in some kind of a surge with the ocean. And oftentimes you're going to see a shell like right here, and you're going to go for it, and you're going to get sucked back. The wave's going to pull you, and you can kick and then grab it.
Yeah, and it's a safety feature as well. You know, if you do get caught in a rip current, it'll help you to swim out of those rip currents. And again, you should be diving when it's relatively flat anyway. So in regards to rip currents, they are dangerous, but they don't have to be dangerous, because if you are caught in one where you're going out, being pushed out to sea, just relax. The way to escape it, depending on your swimming ability, if you feel strong enough, you can immediately start swimming parallel to shore to get out of the rip current, and then return where there is no currents. If you're a weaker swimmer, you can tread or float water out to the head of the rip and then swim parallel to shore. And a lot of times the head of the rips will actually circle back around and actually aid you back to the beach. The water will replace itself where it was flowing out. As you know, the rip currents are caused when water pushes up against the shoreline, and then it has to follow the lowest path of resistance back out to sea, and usually finds deep holes or longshore currents that take the rip currents out to sea. So again, just relax. If you are in trouble, having trouble breathing, and you're swimming near a lifeguard, raise your hand for help. If there are other people around, raise your hand for help. And someone should be out there to help you. Again, just relax, go with the flow, and swim parallel to shore once the rip current subsides. Do not fight the current. That wears you out, and a lot of people drown because of that reason. Definitely want to get your fins on before you get into the water.
Surf fins.
Surf fins, not dive fins. Make sure, get your mask all ready, and you enter the water. You can turn around so your fins don't catch the waves and knock you down. Keep an eye on the ocean at all times. Swim out. All right. Make sure you duck under the waves at all times. Otherwise it's going to knock you around. Going to go under this one. Kick through it. And if you're ever needing help, you want to raise your hand like you need help. Try to get the lifeguard's attention. And if you're okay, you give the okay sign by putting your fist on top of your head. All right, good job. Now getting out of the water. Make sure that you keep an eye on the ocean. You go under, find a nice calm spot, walk out backwards, keeping an eye on the ocean so you don't get knocked over. Take that mask off. And when you get up towards the drier sand, you go ahead and sit down and take off your fins. Just like so. Using a mask and snorkel is not easy, and I recommend, if you haven't done any snorkeling in your life, to practice in a pool first. Getting used to having a mask and having your head down in the water. It's very alien if you've never done it before.
But even still, I highly recommend you don't use a snorkel. A snorkel is definitely for when you are very comfortable, you're advanced, and you know exactly what you're doing. More people drown because of a snorkel. Like here locally at Hanama Bay, a very popular spot. And a lot of times if you're wearing a snorkel and you're, face down in snorkel position, lifeguards and such may not even know that you did drown because you just look like you're in snorkel position. So not wearing a snorkel ensures you that you're constantly going to come up for air and you're going to be looking at the surf. So it's a way of you staying engaged with your environment plus not getting the water that is going to go down into your snorkel. What happens is the oxygen level in their blood slowly drops to the point where they don't realize it, and then all of a sudden they just pass out. Yeah. And then the snorkel comes out of their mouth, and then there's no waving for help or anything, and that's how most people drown here in Hawaii. And if you do advance to using a snorkel while basically an Easter egg hunt underwater, looking for all these goodies, be sure that you're good at blowing the water out and not panicking when water will go into your mouth. There's some tricks in keeping your mask clear. I like to use my spit and just wipe the lens real good. I have two favorite methods. One is to use a leaf that's grown here in Hawaii, and I rub it in the mask, but also toothpaste. Toothpaste works really, really good. It cleans the grease, I guess. I'm not sure, but toothpaste works. You just rinse, wipe it down. Rinse it super, super good. It's going to be a little minty fresh on your eyes, but works good. Yeah. There's different ways of, when you have your goodies, where are you going to put it? So like for him with his surf shorts, he has a pocket on the side. So he puts his in the pocket on the side. My preferred method is a weird one. I like to put shells down my swimsuit because then I can be hands-free. I don't like have to worrying about carrying a bag or something. So I just shove things down my swimsuit. If you do that, you need to make sure that you know how to recognize that a shell is empty, especially cone shells, because that animal is deadly and could sting you and kill you. So another way to do it is to get a mesh bag with a clip, and you can just clip it to your swimsuit. Here's a nice little cone shell, Hebrew cone shell. So if you see it on the ocean floor, grab it from this top. Never, never grab it like this. Never grab it like that. Always grab it like this. And then you can hold it up to the light while you're treading water to see if light's coming through. Look for an animal. A lot of times they'll be compacted with sand, so that's a good sign that it's animal free.
Yeah, not by
Don't
the
do
open
that.
end.
And that's where the stinger comes out. And the stinger is short, so it won't reach you that way. And sometimes underwater, we have found whole bottles like sticking up like this, and I've actually dug them out before. A lot of times when you're grabbing, the sand is going to churn up. That's going to happen to you 90% of the time. So it's kind of like a cloud. So just be prepared. It's a very different way of collecting than when you're walking the beaches where you see it and you can easily take your time and pick it up, or hurry and pick it up before the surf comes and takes it back out to sea. Underwater, it's just a very different world.
It's fun thing to do with my best friend here, and
Yeah, as long as I find the better stuff. We're very competitive.
it's fun.
He has not found a red marble yet, so I'm winning on the marble.
Well, back to ocean safety real quick. You want to make sure that you've got a good entrance and exit point when going in the ocean. Know where you're going to go in and know where you're going to get out. If you're unsure of that, make sure you talk to someone, a lifeguard or an experienced beachgoer that looks like he's a local,
Or she.
and make sure you know how to get in and get out of the ocean, because that's a lot of rescues happen is when people go in the ocean without a plan of how to get out.
Yeah.
And are not looking to see and
They're excited, so they just jump right in.
they're not being observant of what's going on.
When you're in the water, similar to know where you are, so you always find a marker. Always. So you get in the water, you turn around, and you find something, whether it's a coconut tree, a house, not a person, because they can move, something that's stationary. And then you constantly gauge yourself. That's how you can tell if you're being pulled in a rip current or not. And sometimes you don't notice you're getting pulled in a rip current. And even from a side view, always just gauge if you're still within, so many feet to the shore. Always know where you are. And a big saying here in Hawaii, two big sayings, is never turn your back to the ocean. So you never turn your back to the ocean. Even when you're exiting the water, you're walking backwards looking because a wave could come. And when in doubt, don't go out.
Rock outcroppings that waves smash into are bad places to try to get out of the water.
Or to swim near.
It sounds like a lot of common sense, but sometimes when your heart rate gets over 120 beats per minute, your thought processes become clouded, and
Yeah.
you don't make good judgment calls.
And
So-
we've both experienced that ourselves, even though we've been in the ocean our whole lives. We've had moments of where something dangerous is starting to happen, and we get a little scared, and we have to remind ourselves, calm down, think
Exactly.
it through. But it really is fun.
Well, what I can say is just, be prepared, be ocean safety minded, have fun with it, be safe, and enjoy. Happy hunting.
Happy hunting. Aloha.
Aloha.